What is up, guys? It's TCM MarkyB here, and yes, I do know my hair is an absolute mess. That will be sorted tomorrow. I'm actually going to move this mic really quickly, but I'm actually going to get a haircut tomorrow, so that'll all be changed. I'll have a nice new, fresh land cut. For essentially what I'm going to be talking about this video is the regionals this weekend. So obviously, the regional qualifiers for the Call of Duty World Championships is this weekend. Teams from all over Europe have been competing online in different leagues and preliminary tournaments in order to qualify towards this weekend's regionals. So I'm going to go through the matches that I feel, or not just the matches, maybe the qualification groups, as in the countries that I feel like I can give my sort of correct input into, because I'm not going to, for example, I'm going to say it right now, I'm not going to be predicting the Spanish because I've not played any of them, and I just don't feel that's fair, because I've not given everyone a chance. I'm just going off names really, so I don't really feel that's a sort of correct way of doing things. So first of all, not predicting our matches either. So TCM versus LVG, not going to predict that. I'm obviously confident we're going to win, but I don't really want to go into that. I don't know why, I just don't like predicting my matches, and that's just something that I've always done. So now, Orbit versus TYT. Orbit used to be called Insidia, for those of you guys who may be aware of their previous name. It is Endura, Jacko, Lewis and Bounce. Two of the players were previously PS3 players who were very successful on PS3, won numerous events. Lewis was known for getting MVP at numerous different events, and then Jacko was always this guy who was always in the best teams. And then you have Bounce and Endura, both known for their GB prowess and performing online on GB tournaments as well as game battles, ladder matches. They recently, this season, this Call of Duty Ghost, they actually transformed into more LAN competitive players. They've not actually attended an event before, so their first event, both of those players, is going to be regionals, playing to go to LA to the Call of Duty World Championships. Pretty crazy. Like I said, I think they can go on and win the whole thing. Now, who else we got here? Who else we going to be predicting? We've got Aware versus Tech. This, in my opinion, is going to be the closest matchup. This could go either way, in my opinion. I mean, it could go a whitewash for Tech. It could go a whitewash for Aware. It could go last round, last map. This one really is hard to predict, to be honest. But personally, from playing both teams, I've not actually played Aware in a tournament match, so I've not really gauged them in that sort of sense. But we actually played Tech in our third last league match and we beat them 3-2, but it was an insanely close game. They gave us a really good game, and I mean, the only thing that I can see affecting them is Wonder and Mello not getting any practice on the Xbox One beforehand, and I can see that being a major benefit for all of the Aware team, because they've all been practicing on Xbox One, scrimming against different top teams and whatnot. And then finally, we've got Epsilon versus DB. I'm going to say that this game is going to be... Wait a second, did I even predict the TYT Orbit game? I don't think I did. But TYT... Sorry, I'm just jumping ahead. I've jumped ahead like 2 games, but... Like I said, Aware Tech, couldn't predict that. It could go either way. I'm going to favour Tech, though, because they give us a really close game. And then I'm going to say that Orbit are going to 3-0 TYT. TYT are a great team, don't get me wrong. But I just think Orbit have just something a little extra that will take them over TYT in every single game mode. Although TYT are confident because Orbit have 2 players without LAN experience. I don't really think LAN experience has a massive part in a game. It's obviously ideal, but sometimes it can make players play better having their first LAN, being buzzing. Just having that sort of first experience of event can make a few players play better. Obviously, it puts a lot of pressure on their shoulders. They've been touted as 2 of the best players in Europe, so it does obviously put a lot of pressure, like I said. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to beat TYT, and I'm going to be honest, I think it's going to be 3-0 towards Orbit. So then we've got the final match, Epsilon versus DB. So Epsilon have been looking really good. I think they dropped 2 maps in the whole qualification process, and those were both to the X-Orbit team in a very close encounter. I can just see Epsilon winning 3-1. I think if they're... 3-1's my prediction, simply for the reason that I think that Epsilon's worst game mode is S&D, but they're still strong at it. Don't get me wrong, they're still very much strong. They can still beat any team in Europe on S&D, but I think if there's going to be a game mode for Epsilon to drop, it's not going to be a respawn. It's going to be S&D, and from what I remember playing against DB, they beat us in the S&D pretty convincingly. So I would say that the S&D was their strongest game mode. I'm going to imagine that DB are going to win that, maybe. I'm not saying 100%, but 3-1, I'm going to say it. 3-1's my prediction towards Epsilon. They may or may not lose a second map. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's my prediction anyway. So that now I'm going to go into the French qualifier, and this is going to be my last section about the predictions. French qualifier, I think, is open. I think there's obviously 4 great French teams in the qualification. Vitality, you've got to be your favourites, just due to the calibre of players in that team and the successes that have came with those players in previous lineups. I think Vitality is probably the best French team. Although, to be honest, when we've been scrimming Millennium, we've not scrimmed Vitality in a while, but when we've scrimmed Millennium, they've probably been the second best team in Europe we've played behind Epsilon in scrims. They've been giving us close matches. I mean, we have been beating them at the majority of maps, but they've actually took a few maps from us, and they've been looking really good. So I would say Millennium. I reckon Millennium can definitely qualify. Although I'm not entirely sure of the matchups. I'm not entirely sure of what the matchups are. But I think Millennium should win against, even if they're playing Vitality, to be honest. When I actually think about it, when they're actually playing against the Vitality Gotagas team, I think Millennium are really good from what I've seen in scrims. So let's hope that scrims performances, those scrim performances go into LAN as well. And then you've also got obviously the second Vitality team. I think they can. There's 3 teams that I look at it that can qualify. It's only 2 teams that actually get to qualify from the French section. So I'm going to pick Vitality's first team with Gotagas and Millennium. Although I could look like a complete idiot right now. I should have done my research and found out what the head-to-heads were, because if those 2 teams are playing against each other, well then obviously that isn't possible. But if they aren't, I'm going to predict Vitality and Millennium. If they are playing against each other, I'm going to predict Vitality and Vitality. So that's my end of my predictions video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like if you fancy it. Don't need to. Just do it if you want. And subscribe, please, guys. I really would appreciate that. And I'll see you all later. Also, I'll have a haircut tomorrow. Don't fucking worry. I'm gonna try and take some vlogs when I'm away in London as well. So see you all later.